Hey everyone, and welcome back to another SkillCapped jungle video. Today we're going to be putting you in control once again, and asking questions about decision making to see how you would carry a platinum solo queue game. We'll compare your decisions to mine in an echo game where I hard carried and ended the game with 14 kills. You'll have the exact same camera perspective and all the information that comes with it, meaning that whatever info I use to make decisions in game, you will have as well. You should feel confident that if you can make a lot of the same decisions, then you can smash a platinum game too. Be aware that you will probably want to pause throughout and even rewind at points to catch information even when you aren't prompted to. We don't want to make it too obvious when you should be noticing something, but rest assured we'll explain in detail after any questions we might ask. Let us know in the comments below how many you miss, and without further ado, let's get right into the game. As with always, the first thing we should do is come up with a game plan from champion select. So looking at these champions and summoner spells, and assuming no crazy level 1, where would you start? Blue or red? With both bot lanes running exhaust and Xerath not being a particularly good skirmish champion early, I don't feel like I have much potential for kills on bot side. I really want to play around top to punish Kayn's weak early game, and use the strong fighting potential of Lee Sin to do so. That, in addition to top being a volatile melee lane, made starting red an easy decision. However, things are rarely that easy, and going straight into the game, I already have a huge problem. Does anything stand out to you? This will be the only non-multiple choice question in this guide, so don't worry if you don't get it. The first thing you should be aware of at the start of the game is what information you lack. Normally at high level, teams will 5-point and watch all the jungle entrances, but at lower levels, it just doesn't happen as often. This isn't some unavoidable low elo problem, you just need to know how to play around it. First, we have to just acknowledge that there is an issue with your vision. We don't have information in mid or in our Raptor ramp because Annie is late and our bot lane is grouping together. Pings can be extremely helpful in situations like this to get what you want to happen. And because I caught this early, I pinged for help so that someone can cover the area. If this was a little later, I would have just pinged danger so that no one face checks any bushes, but luckily my teammates respond and we do catch the invade. Seeing this, how would you respond? Start walking towards the fight, ignore it, or invade for vision? You should have said invade for vision. We aren't set up to deal with a 5-man squad in our jungle no matter how we reposition now, so the next best thing we can do is look to trade the information that we get across the map. From here, would you stay around to take the red, leave, or recall, or none of the above? You should have said recall. We can't stay in the area because we actually don't know if the enemy is starting our red or not, and just leaving is strictly worse than basing here. We really want to get Sweeper to clear out wards that might have been left in our jungle in order to win the information war, so that's what I end up doing. Even though we're the ones that got invaded, we actually do get an advantage now because of the fact that I see where Kayn starts and have the Sweeper to check for wards in my red. It doesn't mean that there are no wards in my jungle elsewhere, but at least I'm confident that at least one area is clear. After the red, what camp would you do? Raptors, Krugs, blue, or look for an invade? You should have said Krugs. Knowing that Kayn is pathing opposite to us now, we don't need to rush into our top side with a blue or Raptor path unless we see him go Raptors straight to our jungle. We catch him going to red, and then from here we should feel safe doing a more thorough clear. If he does want to go top here, there's no way we'll be able to match it since his path is faster to top than ours no matter what we do, so it's not worth worrying about. Invading also isn't great since we probably won't have prio and it's generally just too coin flippy, so I just carry on with my camps and opt for Raptors, and while I'm going into top side, I look at my lanes a bit and see Kayn top. With this info, what would you do? Counter the gank top, continue clearing, look for an invade, or none of the above? You should have said none of the above. Kayn showing top means that our camps aren't under direct pressure yet, and we know exactly what he did to get there, a full clear top side. If we want to invade, the only camps available are his bot side, at which point we're just giving over our top side to him for him to counter jungle and go even with. There's very little chance from this position that we actually make it top in time to do anything, and just like in the first minute of this game, when you can't change the outcome of something, just look to punish somewhere else. In this case, I opt to go mid, and end up outplaying pretty hard by Eing to her decoy so that she can't outplay me or force me to flash. Once she does flash, I just switch targets and pick up an easy kill. From here, what would you look to do? Invade, go back to farming, look for another gank, or none of the above? Once again, you should have said none of the above. The first thing after a gank should always be to check the wave state. That doesn't mean you'll always have to push it, but in this case Annie wants to recall, and so we should. After getting the wave to crash, what would you look for? Check your camps, top scuttle, bot scuttle, or none of the above. You should have said check your camps. We don't have bot prio for bottom crab, and we don't really know where Kane is right now. If he's going to be on top side after that gank, his only real options are top crab or our jungle. If we only check top crab, then we could be losing our camps during that time. And if he's not even in top side anymore, then it doesn't really matter if we spend a few seconds making sure everything is all clear. Seeing all of our camps and crab up pretty much confirms that Kane is on bot side now. So after this, what would you look to do? Top crab, farm your camps, look for a gank, or none of the above. Because Kane isn't here anymore, our ganks will be uncontested on top side, so we should look for that first, since if it doesn't look good, we can just go do our camps and get crab. Because I knew the wave was coming into Lee, Aatrox is forced to overextend, giving me an easy angle to gank, blowing his flash and getting a kill. After this, what would you do? Push the wave, go to crab, farm, or recall? Same thing as before, check the wave state, and here Lee is forced to crash another wave, so it makes sense to help him out. Then he can recall and move to whatever play we want to do next. After crashing the wave, we see Annie getting ganked mid, so would you look to counter the gank, go back to the camps, contest top crab, or none of the above? You should have said contest top crab. It's pretty clear that Annie is dead before we can even get there. But if you look closely, you'll see that Xerath is already starting to move towards this play. We just pushed in Lee's wave, so he can for sure rotate to any play, and everything we want to do on the map right now is topside. We've still got all of our camps and the top crab up, so we need to stand our ground here or Kane will just get a huge lead. When Xerath looks like he's turning back bot, I ping him to come mid so that we can be ready for a fight that's surely going to happen. I end up stealing the crab from Kane and forcing him out of topside, and pretty much everything I wanted from this play just happened. Now I'm free to just let Annie catch mid-wave and finally go back to farming my camps. I do my blue and grump together, and now we're faced with a chance to make another decision. What would you do from here? Look for gank top, continue farming, look to recall, or none of the above. You should have said continue farming. At the very least, you usually want to clear out a quadrant before you recall or move on to something else. We don't have items now, so going looking for fights is pretty bad. We want to recall, but we're going to farm for as long as we can before I think I'll get punished for staying on the map too long. At this point, I see Kane show bot, so what would you look to do here? Counter gank, continue farming, recall, or none of the above? You should have answered continue farming. The logic of not wanting to look for fights still holds here, and it's really far away anyways. Recalling would be good if it would open up a play for us in the future, but I'm just going to recall and pretty much be forced to go bot side. There's not going to be any plays, the bot fight will already be over, and Kane will probably have control of river. Because of this, there's not much reason to do anything but farm. When you don't have proactive plays to do, farming is the best way to just stay relevant and await something more. Recognizing these periods quickly is extremely important if you want to climb. Now what would you look to do? Go to Krugs, recall, counter jungle, or bottom crab? You should have said counter jungle or recall. In this game, I chose to counter jungle, but honestly, both are fine here. Going to Krugs is difficult since half of our bot lane is dead, and Kane could easily brute force them if he wanted. Bottom crab is definitely down, or at least not good to contest, so we really just want to set up to somehow punish Kane's time bottom. If we don't immediately take action, we'll miss our window, so while I'm not really looking for a fight, I'll just take the free camps while they're available. My computer had a stroke during this part, so it's a bit choppy, but basically I just wanted to make sure that Annie could farm the wave and didn't get dove. So I sit around to protect her and then immediately decided to finally take my recall. I do want to go bottom here after my base since it's where I have camps up, but when I look mid here, what do you think you should do with that info? Go to red, look for the gank, go for top crab, or none of the above. Looking for the gank should be obvious. Nico is pushing her wave, and after she kills the minions, she will either decide to back up or continue hitting the tower. If she goes for the tower, I'll look for it, and if she doesn't, I have a red to go farm. I'm using the walking time that I have here to await for more info. So when I see her hitting tower, I look for the gank. Unfortunately, I miss my stun, but I do get summoners and her ulti, which is a pretty big deal in its own right. Now, what would you look to go do? Go to bot side to farm, go to top side to farm, go to crab, or none of the above. You should have said crab. Annie now has full push here, and Lee has priority as well. Forcing something topside, even at low HP, is fine because I can always smite to heal and my laners can back me up if I need. I'm cautious of Kayn here, so I do pop a sweeper as I'm walking in. But once we see Kayn mid, what would you do? Go back to farming, look for an invade, look for a dive, or none of the above. We should check for a dive and look for the invade. Anytime someone shows on map, we need to use that information, so even though I walk in and the Raptors aren't available, I'm still happy with that decision. If they were up, it'd be a great prize to take away, and I didn't invest much time to check anyways. When I see them down now, I can just look for something else. Would you farm your camps, do Rift Herald, keep looking for an invade elsewhere, or none of the above? This is definitely a hard one and comes down to playstyle differences. I usually prefer to just farm here when all the camps are up, since leaving them up for an extended period of time is pretty terrible. Without Lee in top lane right now, doing objectives is too hard, and there's probably not any camps up to invade, so I just kill some time before looking for something else. From here, what would you do? Look for a gank, start Rift, clear down, or none of the above. I feel pretty strong here having just bought, so I'm really looking to force something the second I get the chance. I know top wave is coming back into us, so Aatrox is available to gank. Even if he plays super safe, that will mean that I have prio for Rift, so I'm pretty guaranteed to be able to get something here, and I end up just picking up the Aatrox kill. So after that, what would you do? Farm camps, start Rift, push top, or none of the above? You should have said none of the above. This is a really difficult one, but because Annie roamed bot, there is now just an income stream mid that no one is getting. Pushing it will deny the enemy gold as well as give me gold and priority for the Rift afterwards. So if you just wanted to go Rift here, just realize that you can get it and more by pushing in the mid wave. I shove it in, and then it gives me access to Kayn's Raptors, putting me pretty far ahead. From here, would you start Rift, look for a gank, or go back to farming? Definitely look for a gank. We don't need to rush the Rift because any kills we get will just result in getting it for free anyways. So I opt to go top and end up getting the Aatrox flash and a big chunk of his HP. After this, what would you do? Start Rift, go for a dive, go back to farming, or none of the above? You should have said look for the dive. Having taken Kayn's camps and seeing him be top just a little bit earlier, it's likely he has no reason to be on top side anymore. So this dive is very unlikely to be countered. Again, the Rift doesn't need to be rushed, and farming camps is usually not as good as just getting dives off if you can. Because of this, I can just wrap around, and as Lee crashes the wave, the dive becomes incredibly easy and we pick up a kill. At this point, I've played into my win condition. Both me and Lee are really far ahead from the repeated pressure on top lane, and my counter jungling efforts have put me quite a bit ahead of Kayn as well. Even though my mid and bot lane are losing, we're able to win teamfights later, and me and Lee pretty much duo carry this game. We're ending the guide basically at the end of the early game, but it is the most important part of the game to master when it comes to getting wins, and we definitely can look at the late game in another video, or even follow up this guide by finishing the rest of the game another time. Let us know if you'd like to see that in the comments, and also tell us how you did. Like always, there are definitely a couple of tricky questions in here, so don't feel too bad if you didn't get everything. It's meant to be tough, and League is a really hard game. Even if you just learned and picked up on one thing, it can have crazy impacts for your own games. There are playstyle differences even among challenger players, and there's definitely more than one way to play a game. But I know and have proven that the way I like to snowball games is effective and gets you to challenger. So with that said, we hope you learned something and enjoyed the guide.
Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about SkillCapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank-up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week, with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent challenger players into ELO Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $4.99 a month if you are serious about improving.
We here at SkillCapped want to thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.